Hey everyone, it's Chris and Tanya from F Cube. We came up with the name F Cube for our business as it helps us to reinforce our why: family, friends, financial independence. We came up with a name at Subway, as we do with many of our big life decisions, sitting at Subway, eating sandwiches.
One other day we were sitting at Subway and we thought, how can we bring the stories from our business partners, our larger business community, to others and help understand the business that we work in. And so we thought, let's start F Cubed Connects. We'll bring you stories from our business partners, the larger business community, about how they got started, why they got started in this online business, and some of the challenges that they may have faced as they got started. Lisa, maybe we'll just start with you introducing yourself, where you're from, what your heritage is, and we'll kick things off with that.
Hi, hello, Chris and Tanya. Yes, my name is Lisa. I'm originally from South Africa. We decided to move to Australia about 3 years ago. So I'm living in Perth, and yeah, I'm a wife, a mom of 3 beautiful children, and that is me.
What is really your big passion in life, and why is that important to you?
Well, my children and my husband is my big passion in life. They give me hope, and I would always say I would love to stay with my children. I've got a boy that I'm homeschooling, and well, to be with him is really a privilege, and to help my girls. I've got 2 girls and a boy. You can hear if you can relate with that. My girls are studying, and to help them with their studies at uni. Well, when we arrived in South Africa, we had our own business, and I run a business. So when we moved to Australia, well, I apply for jobs. Then I've got all those nice questions and answers, and they said, "Oh no, you're too old, or you're not technical savvy enough," and all this type of stuff. And so I said, "Oh goodness, what I'm going to do?" So yeah, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and it was very hard for me because, like if you've got your own business, you're working every day, and it's like a 9 to 5, and sometimes it's later than 5. Yeah, when I came to Australia and now I've got nothing to do, I feel I'm a letdown for my family. My husband's the only provider. So one day I was scrolling on Facebook, and I've got the message I've got like a advert, and I said, "Oh wow, this looks interesting. Let's see what's going on here." And so I pushed that button and I see, wow, this is quite interesting. Maybe I can do this. And I took that leap and I said, well, listen, people, I don't have any qualifications for this. I don't have anything needed for this. I can do it. I can try it. If you can put a computer on, you can push the on button and you can talk and you can read, then you're all good. So I decided, well, let's take a chance and let's do this.
As you got started, or as you were thinking about getting started, did you have any fears that you had to overcome from yourself? Or even, I know when Chris came to me with the idea, he faced a fairly staunch wall. And I'm wondering kind of what your experience was, that both within yourself, okay, this looks interesting, what are my fears? But then as you brought it perhaps to your partner, your husband, and what did you experience going through that part?
Well, first of all, English is my second language. So that was my main fear. Will the people understand me with my accent that I've got? And will I be able to do it? Will I be able to be successful in this? And will I have the courage to speak to, let's say, other people online? So I was very fearful of that. But yes, I'm thinking I'm getting ease of it.
What you decided to name your company and your website?
Yes, okay. Well, my company's name is Living Leap 1031. The 1031 is actually a scripture. It's a thanksgiving of the Lord. It's not really a thanksgiving, but you can do all things. And yes, if you take a leap, if you just go and God will take your hand and he will guide you and he will show you the way. So the scripture is actually says, it's in 1 Chronicles 10:31. That's 1 Chronicles. So whatever you eat or drink, do it in the will of God and he will give you the strength to do it. So that is actually, that is what I based my business on. So if you work hard and you do anything hard and you do it good, and just do it in the will of God and he will help you and everything will be okay.
That's really interesting because we talk a lot about like mindset and how just having the belief in yourself that you can do this, and whatever energy in the environment is able to then help and support you in that. And it's something that we've done a lot of kind of personal work on ourselves in terms of, you know, giving up those limiting thoughts and saying to yourself, you know, to your point, like the thing that I don't want to do the most is probably the thing that I need to do the most to help kind of move us forward. And so it's a really, I've never heard the scripture myself, and that it chills down my back when you read it. So
I was gonna say, we've gone through a number of things in the past where you realize as soon as you start to take ownership for where you are in life and where you are in the universe, once you do that, the God, the universe, however, starts to open up doors for you that you would have thought would have been closed or never possible. So
when one door, when there's one door that closes, there's always another one that opens.
Totally mindset. Like I know when we first started, Chris was working full-time, I was working full-time, and we were, I say, presented with the opportunity for Chris to take this on full-time. And to your point, it was a door closing and then us realizing there was a door wide open in front of us, and we just had to be strong enough and brave enough to walk through. And that it was a leap of faith, absolutely, but one we've never looked back from. It was, to me, it was energizing to be able to say, yeah, let's dive in and have Chris do this full time and fulfill the dream that you had.
we've always sort of tried to break the mold in just about anything we do.
You'll learn that as we go.
As you get to know us, you'll know that we kind of don't do things the normal way or the easy way or
the slow way.
And a lot of people sort of step back and be like, what is wrong with these two?
These two
Or a lot of people will comment and be like, we could never do what you just did. It's like, we didn't think so either. We just wanted to see if we put the effort, could we make it work? And, you know.
Well, if I can tell you a scary part, my scariest moment was when we decided to come overseas, left everything behind. I mean, like literally everything behind in South Africa. We just moved over with 8 suitcases and our 5, and that was that. And we came over and said, okay, Lord, this is going to be a new thing for us. So that was the most difficult thing for us. So I totally understand.
All 5 of you.
All 5 at once in the middle of COVID, the last flight out from South Africa to Australia. And we were being escorted with police because we're immigrants and everything into isolation. So that was quite scary. So online business sounds scary. Sometimes it will be scary, but it's not that scary. There's no police or escorts or anything. And you've got your support with your family. So yes, you can do it. Anything is possible.
Oh my goodness. That's that I can't even imagine.
Perspective right there.
Totally. Leaving all that you know and the country that, had you lived in South Africa your whole life? You'd not lived abroad.
Yes. No.
And just trusting in God to help you.
We just decided, listen, maybe let's go to let's leave South Africa. Let's go overseas for a better future for children.
2 months ago now?
A month and a half, yes.
Amazing.
So, first impressions, I guess, or
any benefits? What have the last 6 weeks brought you?
Well, to be your own boss and to have the flexibility, I think that is the main thing. You can do your own. I mean, you can make your own schedule. It's not
Yeah.
like a 9 to 5 and ask the boss, listen, my kid is sick, can I go home, or may I have the day off, or something like that. You can just do as you wish. If you decided, listen, I'm going to start at 9 a.m. with my business, then you start at 9 a.m. And tomorrow, 9 a.m. is not working for you. Maybe 1 is working, but you can work till late. Then you decide. You're fully your own boss. You can do your own decisions. You don't have to ask anyone anything. As long as you've got your email, your laptop, Wi-Fi, you good. You can go on. So that's
And I
your
find
main.
with the training the way it is, it's so step by step and systematic. You have a
Yes.
plan, you have a process. You're not twiddling your thumbs trying to figure out what to do. You do have to be
No.
disciplined when you're when nobody's watching you and you don't have a supervisor or a wife who steps in and says, "Are you being productive?" And you're like,
What are you doing today? I
yeah,
see scroll,
kind of,
scroll,
you
scroll.
know."
I'm communicating with people.
I'm doing research on social media, but no, I think the training helps, but being disciplined, of course, is the big thing. But once you have that done, you're absolutely right. You have the freedom to do whatever you want. I often will take a break in the morning and play with the dog in the backyard. And,
Yeah.
if I want to go see a movie in the middle of the day when it's not busy, I'll go do that and make up the time later. It's
Talked about it on the weekend. It's summer here in Canada, so kids are off from school, and we took the kids to Niagara Falls. Somewhat impromptu. I had some extra days left over from vacation days, and I was encouraged to take them. And we had points from me traveling, and I said, let's take the kids to Great Wolf Lodge, which is this ginormous indoor water park that the kids could go play at. And we looked at each other one night when the kids were dead asleep because the day was awesome. And we said, if Chris was working full time, we would never have been able to do this. We would have had to stay home because he didn't have as many vacation days as I did. And we used them for things previously. But with this, we booked it. He didn't ask permission. We brought everything with us. While the kids passed out at 6 o'clock, we were able to kind of pluck away and work at things because it's illegal for us to leave them in the hotel room by themselves. So we were able to work on things and then get up in the morning and spend and focus our time on them. And that was one thing that I hadn't really fully appreciated, the flexibility that this was giving us. And is there any advice that you would give to someone aspiring to become an entrepreneur if they're looking to get started in the online space? What would be your message to them?
Well, first of all, take the first step. Take a chance. And you are the only one that could change your life. You're the only one that can change your future.
And I don't think everyone says I need to wait for the perfect moment. It's not the right time. There's never.
If you're going to wait for a perfect moment, you will never do it. So make a change, because the world's not going to change for you. You need to change your own world.
We talk about that all the time in terms of there's been jobs we've been in that we've not been happy in. And we've literally, when we moved to London, we both had left our jobs that we weren't happy in. We signed a mortgage with no job and we moved to a city, obviously, that I had been from, but it was like, no one's going to change or make this better for me. We need to take back control. And we have acquaintances and things that would be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, take the bull by the horns, as we say, and make your own future and take back control of your life. And I feel like that's.
Yeah, it's so tired of hearing the victim mindset from a lot of people and saying, "Oh, I can't do it because of this." Like, again, that expression, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So, pick one, pick the hard, pick the version of hard that you want. Is the hard complaining about your job that you don't like and the boss you can't get along with? Or is the hard, I'm trying to build something for myself that's meaningful, that I really enjoy, that could take me places in 5 years that I would never imagine? Pick your hard. Which one do you want?
What was
kids?
What was the thing that you said the other day? I made a post about it. It was, stop asking your kids what they want to be when they grow up and start asking them what problems they want to solve. And I was like, and wanting to instill in them the entrepreneurial mindset rather than the employee mindset. And like, give them the skills and the life skills and technical skills to be able to, I guess, have that confidence in themselves that they can do it. And to me, that's, I mean, ours are 4 and 6. And to me, that's already something that
Yeah. But that's the
is
time
so
where you have
important.
to start ingraining those sort of values.
Yeah.
And, you know, don't necessarily follow the herd because that's what everyone tells you to do.
Right.
I think there's a paradigm shift happening where people realize that the old formula of going to school and getting a good job and spending lots of time and showing stability, that's,
And
you
staying
know,
in the same job for 50 years. I mean,
people are realizing now that
okay.
they have options.
Mhm.
And
I'm going to tell you, in the beginning
Mm.
of the year, everyone is making plans for the new year, new revolutions and everything, and new plans for the new year. And myself and my husband, we sit and said, listen, 2023, we're not going to end 2023 the same way that we ended 2022. It's going to be something different. It's going to be a change. Definitely going to be a reset, a restore, and a rejoice in our lives. And I think this new online business of ours, this is going to be our reset, restore, and our rejoice for it.
So do you know when we started and became business owners?
New Year's.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Literally, we're having a New Year's Eve party, and Chris is like, come here, come here, come here. We got to sign the contracts. We got to do this. We're going to be business owners. And like, not like an hour before midnight struck.
Of course, I'm like so on fire on it. And meanwhile, we're hosting people. And Tanya's busy trying to like organize hors d'oeuvres and keep people watered.
Be my little marionette of food and drink.
And I'm just like, sign the paperwork. And she's like, I will stab you with this kitchen fork if you don't leave me alone. And it was,
but we were also likewise determined that how we entered 2023 or ended 2022 was not going to be our legacy. For sure.
I was determined. I still had to like drag you along.
He had to inform me that this is.
Yeah, I had to plan that this was not going to be the same and that we were changing
Chris,
it
you
up.
were the bold one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had to kind of drag her kicking and screaming,
Absolutely.
but once she
Like
kind of got on board,
yeah.
she runs with it though.
It was interesting though to see, because I would say when we signed on New Year's Eve, I wasn't confident that I was still skeptical. I still had tons of fears when we started, but I could see Chris's excitement. I could see his conviction to it. And and in the months leading up to that, I had seen Chris just hate being an employee anymore. And just that he was so driven to make this change and that he had done the work to find something that he thought was right was sufficient for me to say, you know what, let's take a chance. And then as we've gone through this over the past 8-9 months, jumped on board full throttle.
And she's like a laser guided missile when you put a target in front of her and she's just like, I'm doing this and you need to get out of my way. So there's
jump on board or get out of the way.
And there are some days where I walk out on the patio and she's got her head down on her laptop. I'm just like, no, I'm gonna go away because she's focused. And if I take that focus away, it's not. Yeah, bad things happen.
Yeah.
You have to let her just kind of work it out and get her done. But
yeah,
it's been fun working on it together.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely. We used to stare like blankly at a TV screen watching whatever Netflix show of the day we were binging, and now we haven't turned on the TV in a while, and it's more we spend our time together brainstorming new ideas, talking about what could work. And to me, it's really built our relationship. You talked about your husband and yourself are celebrating your 25th anniversary, and you went out alone, and what is that, and what do you talk about? And it's interesting because it was kind of the same. We talk about the kids all the time, whatever, but this is something that we do together that we can build our relationship further with it as well. And I love it. I think it's great.
We've even seen some other people who have started their own foundations to help the less fortunate. Like, just the things you can do with this business transcends more than just your own financial needs. It's being able to serve your community and people donating to their church and making a lasting impact in their communities. I mean, that's where, imagine if like 5 years from now, you can help build wells in like poor parts of Australia or give back to South
You go back
Africa,
to South Africa.
you know,
Yeah.
and do that and improve the lives of people. Like that's the legacy type stuff that gets really exciting. And and there's no limit to
I
it.
feel if you put let's say for instance, you throw a rock into a pond and it makes, that is you. You have that rock that makes the first ripple, and then ripple will represent other people and it will help other people. So don't just see it as a one-time thing. It's going to be a legacy. It's going to be a bigger thing. It's going to be bigger than you.
Maybe Cindy, we'll just start with a quick introduction of yourself, where you're from, kind of your background.
So thanks, guys, for asking me to come on today. I think that's it's pretty cool what you're doing, getting to know people and getting to know people's stories. So yes, my name is Cindy Clark. I'm a mama of 2 adult sons. They're still my boys. They'll always be my boys. And my husband, Terry, who we've been married for 8 years. And I don't see far enough of him, but that's one of the reasons I'm running a digital business. So I have always been an entrepreneur my entire life. It's just been kind of where I've been at. My family, my mom and my dad both have had businesses. My dad was a purchasing agent for years. And in the small community in northern BC that I grew up in, my mom actually was the first person who had a pop shop. She brought in video recordings and beta and then VHS, and it all kind of changed. So it's kind of dating myself, but that's kind of where that was at. And I had a high school sweetheart, and I always knew that I needed to have something before I ever got married. I knew I was having kids. That was my thing. Didn't know I was getting married. I knew I was having kids. And I always knew that I needed something to fall back on. So right after high school, I left our northern community and I moved to the Okanagan. And I was there for just over a year, and I took my cosmetology there. And that was really great. It was very necessary. I knew that I had to have something. And then we moved out to Ontario, and I was there for a few years, and our oldest son, Kenneth, was born there. Yeah, I love Ontario. It's beautiful. Yeah. Amazing colors in the fall, right? There's nothing like the colors in Ontario in the fall.
Coming up on it. I can't wait.
Then we moved to back to Alberta. We moved to Edmonton, and my youngest was born there. And then, kind of as the universe knows best, we split. And I got the kids, and he continued on with his life, and the boys and I moved to Saskatchewan, and I continued doing hair, which was a blessing. I was able to go to people's homes, and the young kids would all play together, and the moms would all get their hair done, and worked out really good. And then an opportunity presented itself for me to move back across the border into Alberta to a little community that was in need of a stylist. So bought a salon, bought a house, and 19 years later, this is where I'm at.
So I probably can guess the answer to this one, but what's your biggest passion in life, and why is that so important to you?
Well, yeah, you probably can. My family is really, truly my biggest passion. My boys and I have been through so much together. I was a single parent for a really long time, and our bond, I used to do like this. It's like, we're glue. You can't either way, you can't go all 3 of them apart, kind of thing, And it was just really, really important to me. And then when my husband came into the picture, we were friends for a good number of years. The boys knew him, and now I want to be able to do things as a family and do them together. It's really, really important to me. But one of my biggest passions has always been helping other people and empowering them to be the best versions of themselves. Yep. So, I had a salon, and I was a cosmetologist for over 30 years. There's a heck of a lot more. The name of my business was Beyond the Fringe. And I knew that from when I was little. I knew if I ever had a salon, it would be called Beyond the Fringe, because I always knew it was going to be so much more than just your bangs, just the face framing. There's always so much more to that. And that's really kind of translated into my next adventure, into this new journey, because I'm still able to empower people to be the best versions of themselves and encourage them to do things that are a little bit out of their comfort zone, like, on video.
Just a little bit.
But it's so worth it. It's so worth it. And seeing the changes that come across from all different people, all different spectrum, it really warms my heart. It's really empowering. I love it. always ended up doing things that I could do for myself because I'm not the best employee. I'll just be honest, I'm not wired that way. Yeah, like I've had my whole family's run businesses my entire life. It's just in my makeup, I think. So it's really, really difficult for me to live somebody else's dream, I guess, is what I'm getting at. So the first time I was shut down, it was devastating. And I didn't know what to do. And then we were allowed to reopen up again, and with all these different, follow these regulations and do everything the way you need to do it.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't feeling right to me anymore. Something had really shifted, and I still wanted to help people, but it just felt like I was squished into somebody else's form again.
Yeah.
And I was out running errands. I was out running errands, and the train in a little community, and the train just ran past. And all this beautiful graffiti's going past. And I was very aware in the moment that I was paused for a reason. And I was like trying to listen to the radio, why am I stopped, right? Like, what's the pause? Yeah. And this one train car went past, and it had a spray painted heart, like a very basic spray painted heart. And in that heart, it said, live the life you want to live.
Oh.
And both my boys are grown by this time. And, it was such a concept that I never thought of.
Yep.
And it wasn't very many days after that I saw a photo of this beautiful lady sitting in a field with sage in her lap, and she looked so beautifully, blissfully relaxed. And I just thought, whatever she's doing, I want in. I want to know what she's doing. And yeah, it was a really big deal for me, that whole coming into my own, figuring out what's huge.
I think as like mothers and parents, that is a big thing, especially if you have kids when you're younger. I mean, we've lived our lives enough to kind of identify individually, but I know even when I was off on mat leave, Chris and I have talked about this extensively. I wasn't myself at all. It was one of the most challenging months of my life. And Chris had already intended to take some time. And when we had Lily, our second, he took 6 months instead of 4 months, because it just isn't, I wasn't me. I couldn't figure out how to be me in that space. And so finding something else that helped to fulfill me and identify me was so important. So I can imagine then when your kids are grown and they're living their own lives and you've identified as their mom for so long, that's kind of exciting, like how you can reinvent yourself and make the life that you want when you're still quite young and can do so many things.
Yeah. Exciting and freaky all at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. Scary. Definitely. But I think it's those moments of change where like we push our boundaries, to your point, and like it's scary, but figure it out, Yeah. What did you go through in your journey? What did you yourself have skepticism when you mentioned it to Terry, fears, things like that, as you kind of considered starting up in the business?
Yeah. 100%. I mean, I knew
it's like,
yeah. Skeptical. This girl, before I even actually approached it with Terry, because like I mentioned, I've tried a lot of things. I've done a lot of other things on the side to bring an income into the house. And I was like, what the heck is this? First of all, it's online. Okay. Am I sending out people emails? Like, I don't like telemarketers. What am I doing here? What's this going to be? And I just thought, I'm not so sure. And so I actually sat on that photo for about 3 months. And then I watched a presentation, and then I watched the presentation, and then I watched the presentation again. And I was like, very much looking for something in there that was a little fishy. Yeah. And there wasn't. Yeah. And then when it's like, if you want to move forward on the next step, take a look at this. Just take a look at it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Not a big deal. But do your due diligence. Like, find out if this is something that's going to be for you. Yeah. And so I did. And I was like, okay, now I need Terry to see this. And he watched some of these extra videos with me, and he was checking them out, and he said, yeah, well, this makes complete sense. And he goes, do you think this is something you can do? Right. And I said, well, I actually do. Right. And he said, then babe, go for it. Like, go for it. Amazing. Follow your dreams. I am so proud of you. Just do it. Just go for it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. Super cool.
You weren't quite that helpful.
No, it wasn't.
No.
No.
You came.
I've come around.
clearly, but yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean,
I was kind of, I think like a lot of people who find these videos, it's like 3 a.m. on a Sunday morning and it was winter time and you're, getting towards, for us, it was near the end of the year. So typical New Year's resolution, got to make a change type thing.
yeah.
But I had been, in the same industry for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I think as well, realizing that my shelf life as an employee was sort of running its course.
Had run its course.
Had run its course. And I'm just kind of like, I'm meant for more than just, earning a wage that someone thinks is fair and, trading family time away for money. Like there's just that knowing or that thing in the back of your head or deep in your soul is like, I'm not really aspiring to climb the corporate ladder or like impress anyone with my know-how or just, no, I think I can do better. Same thing. You see the ad, and I work in security and private investigations, so I'm a skeptic. I was born skeptical.
Yes.
But
Very.
and I've seen lots of online scams, and my job was to like follow people and detect fraud, and like that was kind of my thing. So my radar, I think, is pretty finely tuned for that stuff. But same, I mean, I saw Chris and Karen, and instantly I could see us in like 20 years, and
maybe more like 10 if they're
well,
watching this.
Maybe. I'm not presuming anyone's age here, but it's but yeah, you can just see it and be like, yeah, he seems totally relatable, and he doesn't seem like someone who would be involved in anything nefarious. And then I watched the webinar, and kind of immediately I knew there was gonna be like, okay, what's the catch? Like, let's just get on with it here. Like, what am I doing? So I don't even think I made it through the webinar. I was like, I need to know more. 149. Okay, I'd spend more on dumber shit, so I may as well throw money at this, especially if it's money back guarantee. Like, it's not even a risk. It's just I just need to see. I need the details. Like, show me the details. Saw the details. I'm like, yeah, we can do this. Like, there's too much upside. I was like, I can look at what I was making in my other job, and you see the potential here. It's like there's no reason. Like, I'd be an idiot to not try this. But then I knew I had to like.
I knew none of this at this point, and this was
like
some point between Christmas and New Year's. At
like
this point.
End of the year, we'd been in our house for like 6 months. We just spent a schwack ton building it
during COVID. Great time to build a house.
No, bad idea, and long had sad history of bad ideas, but it was but yeah, we had just kind of like caught our breath from that, and then I'm about to like go and tell my wife that my bright idea is to I love the dogger.
We're just gonna
my bright idea is to quit my 20-year career and do something I've never done before. And
so we should do this thing on social media. And I think I literally laughed out loud at him. And with my scientific background, I was super skeptical, and I just had to understand all the nitty gritty. And he had warned Chris on the call and said, this is all well and good. I would love to move forward, but you're probably going to have to talk to my wife after I talk to her. And so he was prepared. We had lots of back and forth, and it was, everyone says, well, what if it doesn't work? And Chris would come back and say, well, what if it does?
What if it does? Yeah. What if it does?
What if it does? The success that so many people are having. And I mean, seeing the over 2,000 people at the convention the other week where we met in person for the first time we walked away so inspired. And so like, I didn't even think we could be more inspired, but more inspired than we were going into it.
We're just more confident as to like what this is and the reach it has, and
the
how much like
everybody
who can do it should do it like immediately.
Yeah.
But
no. And I loved just the inspiration of everyone was talking about, and one of the things we took away from it was mission before commission. Like, yes, of course we all need to earn money to live our lives, of course that's why we work and do things, but that everyone's real priority seemed to be helping others to achieve those dreams as well. And that amongst the 2,000 people there, everyone kind of had that same drive and ambition, and that it wasn't It was, yeah.
There was no pretense, right? It was like, find your
Yeah,
tribe, and
that's
you just
right.
did,
Yes, yes.
right?
There was
People
no
that are
pretense.
really aligned with you. Hmm.
Yeah, there was no, you call it peacocking. There was nothing. It was just everyone's there to do good by each other and help each other. And
I've said this before, I haven't said it today with you guys, but we get 18 summers with our kids if we're lucky.
yes,
And I spent so much of those summers, so many of those summers working, doing so that we could live. You know, my mom and dad used to take my boys for the summers
right.
because otherwise they wouldn't have had a summer at all. You know,
Right.
I was in salon, or I was getting things ready for my next venture, whatever it was, but I was always trying to do something. And summers are a really big deal. My kids do remember that. So, you know, for them to now see, hey, wait, mom can just go. What? That's pretty
Yeah.
cool for them. That's pretty good for them to see that. And they're still relatively young enough that, you know, now we can do things together that's a little bit more their speed, and I still have the energy to be able to do it. So
You can still keep up. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's so funny. So, you know, we've talked a little bit about the benefits, obviously, that you've experienced in starting your own online business. If you were talking with a new person kind of considering getting in, or an aspiring entrepreneur, what would your advice be to them?
Really, it would be to check it out, just to do your due diligence, just to put any ideas that it could be something that it's not aside, and just really, really look at it. Because if I'd have known about this years ago, I wouldn't have missed a summer with my kids. You know, if I'd have known about this, how easy it was. It's not easy, but the system is easy to follow. The training is easy to follow. The support, phenomenal, right? I mean, you get to,
Yeah.
we're making friends and meeting people that genuinely want to help each other out. And I think that is just the biggest thing. You're not gonna, it's like any business. You're never gonna see immediate results. Anything that's worth having is worth working
Yes.
for.
Yep.
But check it out, because you really would be doing yourself a disservice if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Making a prejudgment before you've got the information just based on a notion or
Yeah.
someone's negativity that's not backed by facts is
Yeah, it's one thing to just have like an online job where you're toiling away sort of on your own, but it's entirely something different when you've got that many people that are all like sharing success and rooting for you and helping you kind of get to that next level. It's pretty awesome.
I think we hear
Yeah.
quite often, you own your own business, which is such an important thing for so many people like yourself. And for Chris, it was that voice inside his head, like, I want to start my own business. So
One of many, but that was the loudest one.
he has lots of voice. So when I hear the most, the others, they stay behind. That, you own your own business, but you're never alone. And I've heard that so many times from people. And,
Yeah.
to your point, Cindy, the training, I mean, I've worked in sales and marketing for a long time, but never done anything online, like running my own ads and doing all that. But to see how simple the training is to follow, to get up to speed. And then, in my job, our company's built like all the back end support things. So to know that you've got those in place as you start is life, like it changes everything. It changes how fast you can start to run your own ads, and
Oh, it shortens the learning curve.
and changes what you focus on.
Yeah.
You get to focus on the fun stuff rather than, oh my God, how does this work to track my leads? The sales
We've already
funnel,
got
blah,
this little basket for you. Just jump in and start using it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
What?
embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't know what this little gadget does, then, throw a flare up and there's going to be 20 people answer you about how you can use that. Like,
Yeah.
for the best.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't, how many flares do we throw up in the beginning? And I always approach it as like, if I've stumbled on something, I don't want anyone else to have to reinvent that wheel. I'd rather help them. And if I see it from a different point of view, then let's figure out if that view works. And I mean, let's start off with just a quick introduction, Naomi, to yourself, where you are, maybe a bit of your heritage and background, and we'll go from there.
I'm Naomi. I'm from the Horowhenua in New Zealand. I'm Māori, and 59. I have 5 children, a wonderful husband named Rob, and we've worked all our lives. my husband and I. My 5 children are all grown now, adults. 4 of them are working. My daughter's at home with me at the moment, and just needs my support. I have 7 beautiful grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. So
I was gonna ask, I knew the kids, but I was like, how many of the other generations? That's amazing. Your biggest passion in life, but from our conversations, I pick up that is your biggest passion. But I want.
Absolutely, that's definitely what drives me is my children. My love for my children. I just, you just want the best for your children. As parents, we know that. So that's what we all do, and that's part of the reason why I joined the business was obviously for me to learn, and then hopefully my children will learn. It just gives them another opportunity instead of the 9 to 5 grind, which they all do, which my 4 sons do. They get up and go to work religiously, which is great. And sometimes they're just so incredibly tired, which we all know, because so is Rob and I, obviously, when my husband comes home incredibly tired. But, it's just another way of working, another way of thinking, and it is possible, which is what I thought about this business, the opportunity of this business. It is possible. It's not just about, the grind of every day.
We talk about that
manual
all the time. Yeah. So you mentioned that you always knew it was the right thing, but did you have any fears, or did you face any resistance when you thought about doing it or were talking about it with your family? I'm just curious how that kind of conversation went, because I know how our conversation went.
So probably because I'm considered a strong person, I'll just say that first. So when I decided this is what I wanted to do, my husband was like, okay, dear, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to do, because I'm not a fool. I'm not foolish. I don't take unnecessary risks. In fact, I'm quite the opposite. I'm not, so I'm the opposite. I like comfortable. But then again, I'm never going to, that's where you're not going to grow when you stay where you are. Anyway.
Yeah.
My children, if they don't agree with me, they've all been really positive about it. If they don't agree with me, if they think, oh, mum's a bit airy-fairy, they haven't told me. So there's been no negatives about it to me. But it's probably because I'm probably considered, this strong mum and strong wife, and possibly, so that's what I think.
If you could tell your prior self one thing, what would it be? And I have a feeling I know what that might be now.
Yeah, I think, oh gosh. It would definitely be that. It would definitely be that growth. I think I've experienced growth in every part of my life. But to get to 59, I'm 60 next month, and all I can think about now is about taking care of yourself, really, your whole order, taking care of your whole person. And it's easy to say that at 60. I'll be 60 soon. It's easy to say that then, because would I have listened to anyone who told me that when I was 30? No. Or 40.
60's the new 50. 60's the new 50. You're good.
Yeah, you just don't, though. You just charge on, don't you? You just soldier on. You don't
you soldier on until you can.
Think unless you're in an environment where maybe you have parents that do that. They're saying, and then you learn from your parents, don't you? Because you're watching them. But I didn't have that. So, I just did the best I could with what I had, with what skills I had. Thank goodness for my sister.